Hey YouTube, Ultra Magnum here, and today we're taking a look at Mastermind Creations Incursus. If you're new to my channel, please feel free to hit the subscribe button down below. If you've watched a few of my videos before, I've slightly changed up the scoring and review scale on this video. I think it'll make for a simpler and cleaner video, and hopefully give a chance to kind of get into a bit more depth in some of the areas. So here we go. Accessories, or accessory I should say, because there is just one. On the positive side, it has a tune-like look, and it holds really well without any clearance issues against the wrist. Onto negatives, it's very light and very hollow feeling. There's not a lick of paint, it's just solid plastic, and also there are sprue marks in a number of places. But the main thing is that this is the only blaster. This is also supposed to be Bruticus's blaster, just by bringing out a bigger handle, which is frankly ridiculous. So final score on accessory, 5 out of 10. On to Poseability, and let's start with the positives. So most of the major joints have an absolute full range of motion in all the directions. Shoulders, head, up and down, legs, just smash the light box there, good back and forth, hip skirts, push up, no problem. He's got knees, he's got great ankle rockers, really sturdy, side and back and forth. He has an ab crunch, really decent, and also good waist swivel all the way around if you want to go that way. Onto the, before I mention the negatives, superb hands, like really superb. Big, chunky, posable finger hands, great. Onto the negatives, we have this arm flap here, which if you want to get the arms down by the side like this, you have to have that flap down. That just breaks the cleanup on this side, and it feels like it should be up there in terms of look, but then he will have the arms by the side. There's no way around that. There is a little issue with the bicep swivel. I was trying to think of the word there. This you can correct if you break the sculpt or the mold at the back, if you like. You can then turn the arms the full way. That's a little irritating, to be honest. In terms of weight distribution, he's a little top heavy, and it has something to do with the size of the legs, which we'll come on to shortly. He's just got it's not a massive issue, this, to be honest, because he's so really sturdy and chunky, and as I've said, the feet are great in support terms, but he is a little top heavy just in terms of weight distribution, and sometimes if you don't kind of catch him right when you're posing, he does have a tendency to rock back. But all in all, Poseability is really quite good, and there's a ton of stuff that you can do with this guy to make him look great on the shelf. So 8 out of 10. On to scale, and we'll just kind of address the obvious at the beginning, which is that he's absolutely freaking huge, and he looks like he could rip Prime's arms off and beat him to death with them just for fun. And what's really interesting actually is when I put these two together, it kind of jogged something in my mind, if you like, which is that Onslaught is kind of like a geeky intellectual character. So he's not the big beefy brute that this figure makes him out to be. He's much different in character, and this toy therefore breaks with that. So this isn't the cartoon Onslaught, this is something different. It's not worse for it because it looks so fantastic. And these two, despite the size difference, I haven't got a problem with this scale at all, because in my mind this is, you know, the leader of the Combaticans. This is the main body part of Bruticus, so I'm okay with it being big and chunky, and I'm okay with it looking this way, really intimidating. So I quite like it. In fact, I really like it. Final score and scale on that basis, 9 out of 10. Onto presence and quality in face sculpt. So this guy has bags of quality. He's super chunky. The plastic is really sturdy, solid stuff. He's got chunky solid ratchets. You can absolutely muck around with this figure and it's fun to handle. Really good stuff. In terms of the paint application, it's good. It's really good, in fact. And so, I mean, you have the kind of silvers down here and the face. There's not a kind of blemish in sight in terms of paint application, but the thing that really impresses me is when I started to look at this figure in detail, the green on the sides here. So this green is the color of the plastic. That is green plastic, whereas these greens here, these are painted onto the dark blue teal kind of plastic. That's really impressive in terms of cover. It blends seamlessly. There's a slight tonal variation between the two, but the fact that they've managed to get this so uniform and almost look like it's green plastic inserted into the blue, I think that's hats off to them. That's really good stuff. So really happy with that. In terms of the cleanup of the figure, it's absolutely great all round. The front looks fantastic. The back looks fantastic. There's no gappy bits or holy bits or anything like that. There's probably a little bit on the elbows here where there's a gap in terms of sculpt. That's a minor point. For the face sculpt, it's really good, nicely detailed, but with a toon kind of look and finish. The translucent eyepiece, nice application of the silver. It looks like Onslaught from the cartoon. So awesome stuff. The negatives. So this is a bit of a feature across the figure. It's a minor niggle point in terms of the overall figure, but it is something that is noticeable when you get up close, and that is the unfinished nature of the plastic. So there are a lot of sprue marks everywhere. They're just all over the figure, and they are noticeable when you get up close. There's also kind of an unfinished, well, not unfinished really, that's probably the wrong word. It's like a swirl to the kind of plastic in some places. It's a bit difficult to pick up on the camera, but it's almost like a bit of a, almost like a mixing of tones in some of the darker blues, and it's just quite noticeable, to be honest, when you have a look up close. It's like a dusty kind of look, or an oily kind of look to that dark blue plastic. So couple of points, they are minor but they are noticeable. In terms of presence, the figure has bags of it, absolutely bags, and that's due to the chunky kind of look of the bot, the poseability of it, and just the quality feel of it. Really great. But the thing for me that really makes this stand out, and I absolutely love, is his eyes light up. Oh my god, do your eyes light up? Mine don't, but his do. One thing I should point out, because it'd be remiss of me if I don't, is that his legs are a little on the stumpy side. They are short, it is a thing. However, in the figure's defense, that is consistent with the G1 original, and also it is very much needed in order for him to turn into combined mode. So I'm going to let that one pass. Final score on presence and quality and sculpt, 9 out of 10. On to engineering and transformation. So in terms of the positives, the transformation is absolutely fun. It's intuitive, it's really chunky in terms of the movements. The engineering is fantastic. I mean, this thing is superbly engineered. It's almost faultless in the way that things line up and move, and click into place the way that they should. Really awesome. In terms of cons, personally, I don't have any. There's a couple of points to note, and well, there's only one point to note really, and that is that some of the tabs are really securely in place the first time you transform it, and to me that's not really a negative. Overall, this is right up my street. 10 out of 10. Despite the long cartoonish kind of feel of the alt mode, it is actually really good in terms of scale and looks particularly good next to Fanstoy's alt modes. Here he is with Road King. That's good actually, isn't it? That's really good. Is he a little bit too small? Maybe. Here he is with Spoiler. And here he is with Spoiler with Goose on his back. That is great scale. That's awesome. In terms of cleanup, it's really interesting because on the one hand, you could look at all of these knobbly bits and hinges and panel bits and bobs and think, oh, that's not so great. You know, why wasn't that tidied up? But all of this back section, if it didn't have these things, it would look really, really bland. And, you know, through no fault of the figure, because that's what it is. It has to have this. So all of these things kind of had extra detail, and they make it a bit more realistic. So it's ticking 3 boxes there in terms of toy, toon look, and a bit of realism as well. Now that doesn't flow through to all of the figure, because if we move on to critical points now, we have a massive hinge at the back of the cab on the side of the alt mode. That's pretty unsightly, and I think that could have been cleaned up somehow. But the main thing for me is in the same as the bot mode, there are just lots of unsightly sprue marks, and once you get up a little bit close, you see lots of kind of an unfinished feel to the figure, and it just spoils it a little. And I don't know whether, so this isn't painted, it's plastic, as we've kind of said, so maybe it's just that, but it just takes away from it a little bit. So it manages to somehow tick a number of key areas: toy, toon and scale. Really impressive, but it just lets itself down on a little bit of cleanup and quality control. So 9 out of 10. So there we have it. Final score from me, adding that all together, 8.3 out of 10. He's got great engineering, fantastic transformation, good presence and quality. Alt mode is fantastic. I like the scale. Not necessarily accurate, but I do like it. And he's got good posability. Couple of niggles in that area, but generally very good. The thing that lets this down is the accessory, which I think is really poor. However, overall, this figure is fantastic. Couldn't recommend it highly enough. I think he's absolutely awesome. I'm going to go all in and get the rest of the bots in this set, and this will be my Bruticus. I can't wait to see how that turns out. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a like down below, and take care. Bye for now.